Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Okay, I can see Sister Maria is here. Okay, alright. The invite button. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hi, Sister Maria.
Hi, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, great.
Great. Okay. You can hear me clearly and see me clearly, right?
Yes, and can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you clearly, inshallah. I hope it's the same for our audience. Inshallah, you guys can hear us and see us clearly, inshallah. So, okay, inshallah, we'll start. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. I'm Sophia from Tertib Publishing, and welcome to episode 19 of Read with Tertib. Tonight, we have Sister Maria with us from Whimsy Girl Maria. We'll be discussing from one of our bestseller, Reflecting on the Names of Allah by Dr. Jinan Yusof. Inshallah, Sister Maria will be picking like one chapter from the book and we will discuss it together, inshallah. Okay, Sister Maria, please introduce yourself first before we start.
I'm just going to give a short introduction.
All right.
I'm Maria. I'm from Selangor, but I work in KL. I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Maybe like a brief on what I'm going to share with us tonight.
All right. Actually, I am going to share about the some name from one of the names that is featured in this book.
Mm.
Honestly, I haven't finished reading it yet, but yeah, so far I'm really enjoying and I really love the book. And I'll tell you.
Yes, we would like to hear it. Okay,
Okay,
how do you come across the book, Sister Maria?
to be honest, I've forgotten.
Okay.
I know that Dr. Jinan wrote a series on the names of Allah in com. That was the suhaibweb.com before, and I think at least 7-10 years she has started writing these articles about the names of Allah. Even then I didn't get to follow every single article. So when I maybe somewhere on Instagram, maybe from your side, maybe from Wardah Books, I'm not sure, but when I found that there is a book, I thought maybe I should just get it for myself.
Okay. So that's how Sister Maria come across the book. We receive lots of good feedbacks from our customers about this book, and we pray that it will benefit all of you, inshallah. So, Sister Maria, are you ready?
Yeah. Inshallah.
Okay. The floor is yours, Sister Maria. Take it on.
All right. Okay, I've introduced the book just now. It's by Dr. Jinan Yusof. It was published by Al-Buruj Press, and it's reviewed by Sheikh Akram Nadwi. I think if you follow Noman Ali Khan, he mentions a lot of his name. All right. So this book is written so that we could understand and reflect on the names of Allah.
Okay.
Okay. If anyone has read Dr. Gina's articles from virtualmouse.com, probably you'll find that some of the articles are about the same and some are completely changed and reworked. And there are some additional articles as well that they don't have in the web series, but they have in the book. Right. And who is Ustazah Zina Yusof? She actually is a graduate, a law graduate from London School of Economics and Political Science. And she was also very heavily involved in the Islamic student body when she was studying. And she completed her PhD from SOAS University of London. And currently she's a course instructor with Al-Buruj Press and as well as Suhaib Web Institute of Secret Sciences. Okay, that's about her.
Okay.
I think I will proceed to why we need to learn the names of Allah.
Okay.
One, I will have to go somewhere else because I took these points from Sheikh Yasir Qalbi's lecture series, Beautiful Names of Allah. It's actually available on YouTube for free, so anyone can go and have a watch. Right. Number one, he said that knowledge about Allah is the most fundamental aspect in our religion, because this is our first pillar of faith, to believe in Allah. So how do we believe in Allah? Is by getting to know Him. And how do we get to know Allah? Is through His names and attributes, right? And number two,
Yes.
yeah. So number two, he said, knowledge of Allah is half of Tawheed, and the other half is worshipping Allah. So in other words, that in order for us to worship Allah, and we must know Allah first. This is why we learn the names of Allah. Okay? And next, he also said that Allah loves to be praised, and the highest form of praise for Allah is using His. And number four, and this is something that we hear a lot. Allah said in the Quran, in Surah Al-A'raf, ayat 180, to God belong the best of names, so call on Him using them. So we were advised to make dua with using His names. And so when we have knowledge on the names of Allah, we would know how to use His names and when to use His names in our duas. So this is also important. I think that's one of the reasons that I bought this book actually. You know, sometimes I used to be stuck with Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, and then what? And then I don't know how to put each name in what kind of situation. So I think this book will help us still, okay, if I'm stuck in the position that I need to go out, what is the name that I should use? If I need more sustenance, or if I am, I'm in need of something, then what name should I use? If I am, broken-hearted or something, which name should I use? So I think that's part of the reason why I bought this book.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so relatable.
It actually write for every name that I have learned so far. I will write a dua. I'll create a dua for myself that is related to that particular name. So that's
MashaAllah.
practice for anyone who has started using this book. And I'm sure a lot of people have done it. I think I saw a few Instagram accounts that has this short duas after their reflections on the names of Allah.
That's beautiful.
And then another point that Sheikh Yasir mentioned is to gain the love of Allah. So not just worshipping, just praising Him. When you want to love Allah, you will want to love His names and attributes. And when you love His names and attributes, He will love you back. And I think if you have read just a few names, just a few reflections, and actually we would have gained some new experience, a new yaqeen, a new love and hope in our hearts, because we know Him better than what we used to learn. So this is one of the ways that we can get closer to Allah, hopefully. So those are the points that Sheikh Yasir mentioned in his first lecture in the Beautiful Names of Allah. Now, I will tell you why I really love this book.
Okay.
Number one, the simple language. It's really easy to understand. It doesn't have very flowery words or heavy jargons and all that. It's just very just it's nice for anyone who understands basic English and a bit of Arabic English kind of language. And it has a nice flow as well from when she starts the introduction of each chapter, and then the
Yes.
and the reflections, and then the Quranic verses that she puts inside each chapter, and also and how do we live up to the names. This is I think I read another book by Al-Razzaq, and we know his language is from hundreds of years ago, so she makes it easier and lighter for us, but at the same time it still benefits us as well.
Yeah.
So what part of the experience. And then there are real life explanations as well that she mentions in the names that so that it's easier to understand and easier to to get the significance of each name in our lives. And I think the most important thing is it gives tranquility, peaceful feeling, some kind of tranquility when you just sit down in a quiet place, or even if it's not a quiet place and you're reading. And yeah, it the book can look intimidating because it says
So
names of
thick. Yeah.
every 99 at least, and yeah, more than 400 pages or more than 500.
Yes.
But don't worry about it because, of course, at first you're like, oh, should I buy this book? And then at home, or should I read? How do I start reading this book? But just
Yeah.
and then I think you will feel the peace, and with the simple language and the flow of the writing, I think you will enjoy it, and you will find that it's not that intimidating.
Yes. Yes. You have to open it up first.
And one tip for reading this book or a lot of other religious book that I think I would suggest reading all the sections in the front, the acknowledgement, the notes, and
Yes.
forward introduction, all that, because we will get into the author's frame of mind, and then yeah, that way it's easier to read and to understand.
Thank you for the tip.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll proceed with the name that I choose this time. Okay.
Okay.
I've gone through about 20% of the book, and so far this is the longest chapter, but it is a very important chapter, a very important name, and I could understand why the chapter is a little bit longer than the rest, because it's Al-Razzaq, and Al-Razzaq means the provider, and he provides for us everything that we need, and everything, even things that we don't need in this world. Yeah, because in this life we always, especially if you're an adult, you worry about your income, you worry about your food, and where you're going next, and what is the future going to hold for you. So
Scary
Raza,
question.
yes, this is a very important chapter and very important name, and it's very crucial for us to know further. Okay, I would like to read a bit from Al-Ghazali's book. This is
Okay.
Beautiful Names of God. Um, I because I read this book first a few months ago, and like I say, it's written hundreds of years ago, so the language is a bit complicated. But when I read Reflecting on the Names of Allah, it actually complements each other. So, okay, Al-Razzaq, according to Al-Ghazali, is the one who created the means of sustenance as well as those who are sustained, and who conveys the means to the creatures as well as creating the ways of enjoying them. So, for example, if one of the most important sustenance is our food, right? So he not only created the food, he created our mouth and our tongue and everything, our throats, how we're not just eating to nourish ourselves, but our tongue and teeth and everything helps us enjoy the food. And
Yeah.
yeah, so many types of food in different corners of the world, and this is sustenance as well. Allah allows us to not only eat, not only nourish ourselves, but enjoy the nourishment. So that is according to Al-Razzaq. Um, okay, so what is provision? What is risk? I think most of the time we think about money. Most of the time, especially if you're working, you're an adult, it's always about how much you earn every day, every month, every year, and who has more, bigger house, a bigger car, and everything. But of course, provision risk is more than that. Knowledge is also risk because not everyone is blessed with a lot of knowledge and the time to learn, the time to study. Actually, that is part of risk. Actually, good health is also a huge provision. With good health, we can learn, we can study, we can earn. But without good health, then everything else will be, thrown aside. Wisdom is also a provision. Good weather, and sometimes I love it when it rains at night and on the daytime it's so bright. So our daily lives is not stopped by rain, but at night it will cool us down and we can sleep very well. And great family.
Yes.
That's something that we should be thankful for, and not everyone is blessed with. Yeah, and parents who reach old age. Not everyone has parents who reach old age, and we are also like getting older, and we get to take care of them and be nice to them. Although it can be really challenging, especially not especially if you have either physical illness or mental illness, it will be challenging anyway. But it's
Mm.
our way to Jannah, and this is also provision, and it's a big provision. A good working place as well, because a lot of people experience sexism and racism at work, and if you have a good boss and good colleagues, it makes a whole lot difference, and that
Yeah.
is Asian. And sometimes even if you earn a lot, but your working place is terrible, just let me tell you, it's just it's not something that something that people will it will stress people out. But if you even earn a little bit less, but you have good connection, you will be happy and contented, I guess. And also nature, like sunshine and the chirping birds and the rain, the wind, the bees, and the flowers around us. If we learn about the sun and the breeze and the wind, actually we know how we will be amazed by how much Allah gives us
Yeah.
as human beings in this world. Because if you have watched the movie The Beast or something, that you know how much the bees are needed in this world for for the rest of our sustenance, our fruits, our vegetables, and even a slight change of weather or anything will change the bees' habits. So something small and look insignificant like the bees, but they are really needed in our life.
Yeah.
If and we will be so thankful that Allah gave us such things to appreciate and that we really need. So those are provisions that among the provisions that I can think of.
Beautiful, beautiful advice. The small things that we
Yes,
mislook.
yes. But actually, you need to learn as well all these things because if we don't read, or we don't watch documentaries, or we don't talk to people, we wouldn't know how bees work and how rain works and how wind helps to regulate a whole lot of things in this world. And yeah, we should also watch a lot of documentaries as well.
Okay. We sure will watch a lot more, inshallah.
So okay, I think I will add to I will read a little bit about this nice part of the chapter
Okay.
about increasing our risk. So
Okay.
everyone wants money and percentage. Everyone wants to be happy according to, and I think, and we want to have it all, everything, but we can't.
Unfortunately, we can't.
Yes, we can strive to have everything in the afterlife.
Yeah,
Right.
inshallah. I mean,
So perfect. Yeah. Okay. How to increase risk? I will read the list first. Then I
okay.
talk about maybe one or two of the things. Number one, this is from Sheikh Al-Nabusi, Sheikh Mahir Muqaddim, and Sheikh Safwan Hanuf. These are a number of ways in which we can increase our provision. Okay, the summary is this. Number one, consciousness, which is taqwa. Number two, reliance on Allah. This too is based on Surah At-Talaq, ayat 2 to 3. And then prayer. Of course, our salat is very, very important. That is from Taha, and ayat 132. Then faith and good deeds will also increase our risk as well. As from Surah Al-Hajj, ayat 50. Helping others. In Surah, this is from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Seek out the vulnerable around you. Verily, you are only given provision and support due to your support of the weak. Alright. Next would be keeping good relations with family. From this is a sunnah as well. Whoever would like his risk to be increased and his life to be extended should uphold the ties of kinship. And then thankfulness. I think we know this ayat, la'in syakartum wa in
Wala.
syakartum lazidannakum. If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor. But if you deny, indeed my punishment is severe. This is Surah Ibrahim, ayat 7. And then another way to increase our risk is to ask for forgiveness and repentance. That is tawbah. You can read it from Surah Nuh, ayat 10 to 12. And then one of the favorite ways that we all know to increase our risk is through charity.
Yeah.
And this is from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 245. Reciting the Quran also is the way to increase our risk. And last but not least is migrating for the sake of Allah. This is from Surah An-Nisa, ayat 9. We still have time to elaborate.
Yes, sure. That's
Okay,
all the 11 ways to increase our provisions.
yes, but I think I'm going to touch about on one or two if we have time. Okay, about God consciousness and reliance on God. Surah At-Talaq ayat 2 to 3. If you see that a lot of restaurants and shops have this ayat hung on the walls.
Yeah.
Nicely, and yes, and we call it here ayat 1000 dinar, right? 1,000
Yes.
dinars. Apparently using this ayat will make your business prosperous and attract customers. That was the belief, but it's not just for hanging on the wall. But I learned somewhere before this that the actual meaning of using this ayat is we should not use haram ways to earn. no matter how tempting and no matter how easy it seems to be, how luxurious people who are selling and buying without honesty and all that.
Mm.
So with trust in Allah, Al-Razzaq, then we rely on Him for the provision, because when we know that He's Al-Razzaq, He's the one who gives us all the provisions, and He's the one who told us not to lie, to be honest, and you must not deal with riba, all that is from Allah. So when Allah orders us to do that, and then we are obliged to follow. So when we follow, even though it looks a bit more difficult than the haram ways, this is when our trust in Al-Razzaq is tested. So if we rely on Allah, then He will give us, provide from where we do not expect.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes, when selling and buying, we should be honest. And advertisement should be honest as well.
Yes.
Overclaim, this supplement can do 100,000 things. So when it is, and we should business people should keep to their promise. Even the ones who work should keep to the promise to deliver. Like, I think a lot of examples from the Prophet Muhammad's time, when Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he there was, I think, someone who sold a bunch of dates, and he found that there was some wet and rotten dates below, and he was not happy about it because the person actually put it there with the rest of the dates that was good. So we're not supposed to sell things that is mixed rotten and good. All of the things that we that is sold must be in good quality.
Yes.
And another thing is, don't be envious at the more prosperous shops and don't oppress other businesses. Don't go to the Bomo and send some
Allah.
things are surprisingly common. If we I mean, I have a brother who has a stall, and there's a lot of stories about these things, but it's not nice, and actually it's wrong. And
Mm.
it doesn't bring you any good. So the best is to trust Al-Razzaq, and He will give us, from what we don't know. Sometimes that business doesn't work, but you don't know what other chances that will come after that.
True. Taqwa.
And there's another one about charity from Surah Al-Baqarah ayat 145. I remember there's an Indonesian Ustaz named Ustaz Yusuf Mansur. He gave many lectures about overcoming difficulties in life by giving charity. These are all on YouTube, and his lectures are sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes, and there's one that was 2 hours long. Took me a few sittings to go through, but this is the ayat that he quoted
Okay.
in his YouTube video, one or two of them at least. So I remember when I was younger in school, I don't know where I got this from, but if the idea was that if we need something, or for example, we want to score in exams, we were advised to pray 2 rakats and make some kind of, what they say, nazar, promise Allah something if He gave us what He need. Like, uh, we offer to fast extra 2 days, but only if we score in exams. Something like that. That was
Okay.
when, I don't know, maybe it was in school, or maybe some random lectures that I heard or masjid. But from Ustaz Yusuf's teaching, actually it's the opposite.
Mm.
If we need something, we should give first. So if we have a business, we need customers, we should start with giving charity or giving free stuff to the customers. If we need to pass exams, we need to score in exams, you give to charity. If you are feeling unwell, you want healing and you want to recover from whatever you have at the moment, then give to charity. If you owe a lot of money to other people, if you feel trapped and you don't know what to do, well, don't run from it in the first place and give charity. He even said, okay, because Allah promised us reward from 10 to a few thousand or even more. So if you want 200 ringgit, you should spend into Allah's way at least 2 ringgit or 20 ringgit. So you will get back that 200. That's his calculation. Because sometimes it is some, people experience it in different ways, but yeah, that is his calculation. But of course, it's not just about money. It's about, right?
Yeah.
So the loan that Allah mentioned in this ayat is the charity that we give to him so that he will give us money.
Inshallah.
So that's charity. I think since Ramadan is coming,
Yeah.
so that's part of the things that we always do. We need to do better in Ramadan, which hopefully we will continue doing after
I mean,
this finished.
inshallah. That's it, Sister Maria?
Do we have time, or do you want to move on to something else?
We will be having a Q&A session towards the end, but
Okay.
do you have more to share?
Yeah. Okay. Since Ramadan is coming as well, I think I want to share with you something from page 48.
Okay.
Okay. We need to understand that there are consequences for our actions. God reminds us that if we do not rule with justice, then there will be corruption on earth that affects everyone. Overusing resources, abusing human beings, and hoarding wealth are things that are despised in our religion, and God warns us severely against them. We cannot blame God when collectively we have created a system which goes precisely against the way in which He has ordered us to live. So, yeah, for those who has limited means, the test is hardship in this life. And for those who have abundant means, where we have a lot of money, we have a lot of risk, the test is to help and to work to create a system that is more just. It seems like this is something big that a lot, maybe, politicians and businessmen and world leaders are responsible. Actually, every one of us is. For example, I think I'll just touch about overconsumption because we take too much from this world, more than what we need, and we eat too much food, and we use too much energy, and basically we destroy too much of our natural resources just to fulfill what we want and more than what we need. Like these days we campaign about sustainable living, and of course a lot of deforestation going on. The whole world is getting warmer. There's a lot of rubbish around, plastics and straws and bottles, and everything is everywhere. And apparently recently they found that the deepest, one of the deepest points in the sea actually is a trench. When they went down in the trench, they saw a lot of rubbish in there. Just imagine, like, I'm not sure, maybe 10,000 meters, 8,000 meters down in the trench in the sea, there was like clothes and bottles and things that was on our land and is deep down inside. So I think if we reduce consumption, if we try to control what we eat, and if we try to control what we buy, maybe these things can slow down, and maybe one day we will have our father's back. Or life could be a lot simpler. maybe in this Ramadan, it's good to remember that when we go to the bazaar,
If we
don't,
have Azza this year.
yeah, over order on Panda. just
Yes.
just click and everything comes right. You just wait there outside your house, and then 2 3 riders will come, and then before you know it, you won't be able to finish all the food. And the more you buy, the more plastic packaging we use. So it's best if we try to control ourselves and to eat the way Rasulullah eat and to live the way he lives, so that I think we will have less corruption in this world.
Okay.
That's
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Sister Maria, for the beautiful sharing. Okay, we will move on to the Q&A session. Okay?
Okay.
All right. We will start with the audience questions first. Let me scroll. I think I saw few from the comment section. Okay, from Brother Amar Azali. When you want to reflect on the names, usually is it through writing or thoughts? Do you write daily journal based on the names of Allah?
It's both actually. Sometimes, if when I write, I come across the reflection in my. I mean, when I read and I'm sitting down somewhere, the reflections come immediately. Then I'll write them immediately. But sometimes it will take days for me to like wonder and sit in the train or in the car and then just let my mind go and yet then after those reflections then only I write. So it can be both ways. Either it can be immediately, or I can think about it and not put it down, or write them down maybe after a few days sometimes.
All right. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. Okay, Sister Maria? One more from Brother Amma. Do you think if someone doesn't have strong command of Arabic language, will struggle to connect with the names of Allah?
I think, well, actually no. But I mean, I'm not a student of Arabic as well, but I learn slowly from all the lectures and how throughout the years, not just like 1 or 2 years. I learned throughout the years, and I think knowledge of Arabic helps, but it's not the fundamental necessity. Because every one of us needs to know Allah, and Allah will make it easy for us. So He wouldn't let us blind without knowing Him if we wanted to. I think, it's useful, but not entirely necessary.
Okay, it's useful, but it's not entirely necessity.
That that shouldn't intimidate anyone from learning the names of Allah.
Yes, inshallah.
In this book, or sometimes if I can't find it in this book, it's in Al-Razzaq or is with Syed lecture. In each name and where the name comes from, and how what is the actual literal Arabic meaning and what is it from Allah's perspective.
Okay.
It's few sources.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the next question, inshallah. From Sister Najiba, could you share tips on how could we encourage others to practice gratitude?
Oh, okay. The easy tip is I got this from my cousin.
Okay.
The easy tip is you either have a journal or a reminder in the morning, so that when you wake up, you list down 5 things that you're grateful about. The first thing in the morning, you wake up and say your prayers, and then start thinking about the 5 things that that you're grateful about. It can be anything. It can be about your life. It can be about sometimes it can be things as simple as knives and spoon and fork. Things that make our lives easier. Blender
Yes.
and and restaurants and sometimes it doesn't have to be big things. You just think about five things of eyes, nose, mouth, fingers, and toes. That's five already, and you will feel better, and you will want to be more grateful the next day and the next day. Yeah, it actually does help when we feel down and when we feel even if we feel angry or sometimes if we feel jealous with someone. Gratitude is the best thing to do
Agree.
for a lot of situations and a whole lot of heart diseases. I mean, the spiritual heart disease. And I think actually, if physical heart disease is also good for you. So I don't have other tips actually, but I had a journal, but these days sometimes I just wake up and just list down five things. And sometimes when you are so happy, we're so comfortable, and I fall back to sleep. But
All right. Be flexible with your journal.
it's good, I promise you.
Okay, can we move on to the next question, Sister Maria?
Yes.
All right. Please share some of your Ramadan goals.
Uh, I'm really busy this past 6 weeks that you know
Oh.
I've just managed to sit down and think what I want to do, and I keep it a secret.
Okay, all right.
And of what I've done the past 7 years, 8 years, and there are some things that I need to revise because I've forgotten and I've messed some things, and this in the religious way basically. But yeah, I need to revise a few things, and inshallah I'm going to read up a few books, and this is of course part of it because we have another few sessions, and
Yay!
yeah, I want to read up. Yeah, I hope I can finish this book. This is one of my Ramadan goals, basically. And a few more other books like I'll show you.
Okay.
This is also a wonderful book, 40 on Justice by
Oh,
Yusuf.
the new book!
This is amazing.
Oh my God! Oh,
So I just started till page 48. But I think this will carry me through until at least the beginning of Ramadan.
did you got
It,
it from Wardah Books? Because I
I,
just saw from Wardah. I don't see any Malaysia bookstore have this.
Punya just called me this afternoon and they have it already.
Oh my God!
And you can see it on the website as well. I checked it out because they said the price is 180 ringgit. But when I see it on the website, I don't know why there are two prices for the book. So
I see.
you can you can contact them. Yeah, Kinokuniya has it.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
Wonderful, I'm telling you,
Oh, mashallah. Okay.
That's one, and I bought another book. I haven't even opened the packaging, but it's a tafsir of Surah Al-Mulk by Imam Bilal Phillips. I
Mm.
is Al Hujurat, and I saw it on Dakwah Corner, I think, during the book fest. So that's one of the books that, inshallah, I'm going to read in Ramadan.
Okay. One question. Salam, sister. Any tips on how to be consistent in terms of our ibadah during first until last Ramadan? We're talking about consistent now.
How I'm going to be consistent myself. But what I realize is eating healthy is one of the best ways to do it. Because our energy really depends, especially if you have age like me. When you're younger, 20, 25, maybe it doesn't really, that it's not really that obvious, you know. But after a certain age, you will realize that even a slightly extra salt or extra sugar before will make you really tired on the next day, and all you want to do is sleep.
Yeah.
That's a story about my grandfather. He he's an inspiration in terms of Ramadan. He's really there's a lot of things, but in Ramadan, he actually is extra hardworking. He used to cycle 20 kilometers to sell pineapples from his house in the kampung and to the place where he usually parks his bicycle and sell pineapples. During normal days, he will cycle once and come back. But during Ramadan, he do it twice. So that is 20, 40, 80 kilometers per day in Ramadan, and normal days is 40 kilometers. Yeah. And with lack of food and you know those times not have enough money, has 10 children, yeah, but he managed to do that. Actually, he's an inspiration that tells me, Ramadan is not something that should stop us from doing extra or doing what we have always done. But basically, consistency, yeah, number one is healthy food. Number two is quality sleep. Because when we take care of our health, because number one is actually intention, of course. But when we have intention but we don't have the means, it would work as well. But obviously, and then you make dua to Allah that we will be consistent. Read a lot about the benefits and the about Ramadan, that why is it a special month, then we will be more motivated to do it. But with motivation and good health, it will combine together. It will help us to be consistent till the end of the month. So eat a lot of fruits, take a lot of plain water at night, and don't eat too much sugar, and eat less salt as well. If you can help it, because sometimes some of us are really busy at work and we don't have time to cook ourselves. We have to buy from outside. Well, simple meals is enough actually. If you can like get one rice with one protein and one veg, and a bit of fruits, maybe just one piece of kueh is actually enough for us to sustain ourselves. And yeah, and this is a month for us to try to control ourselves through consumption, and this is when we learn not only spiritually but physically how to take care.
Yes. Okay, I love how where this is going towards the healthy part of ourselves. I love all the tips. And okay, I need to ask you the questions. Okay, relating to you said we have to control ourselves, back to basic, living with what we have, and not going overboard with anything, eating, buying, and whatnot. So, and how, because we have lots of resource nowadays, with the additional thing that we actually don't need to have and don't need to consume. So how do you think, how to put this in words? How do you think living back to basic contributes so much to yourself and your relationship to your religion?
Okay, number one, if we have too much stuff, we have a lot to think about. We have to know where to put them, how to maintain, and if we have too much and then we don't know, we keep on. It's an obsession actually. Because I used to have a lot of stuff too, but now I'm trying to reduce. Like who's that Japanese girl? The Japanese.
Yeah, the popular one. Oh my god.
Series or something, right? But anyway, she's right. Actually, if if we live on what we need, we will be calmer because we don't have to cook so much to eat too much. We don't need to go and buy things.
Yeah, Mary Kondo, right?
Yeah,
Thank you, Sister Najibah.
and we don't need to iron too many clothes because we have only a few clothes. We don't need to clean and dust all the small things that we put on the table and the cupboard and everything because we don't have it. So it's a freedom of mind when we are free and if we don't consume too much time with cleaning and maintaining our material belongings, then we have more time to read, we have more time to learn, we have more time to study the religion or study anything else in this world, and we have more time to go to the masjid, we have more time to pray and to make dua. And yeah, I think that is how having less and living with less will make us closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And of course, we can take examples from number one, yes, Prophet Muhammad SAW, but his companions as well, like Umar al-Khattab. He lives in such a very prosperous time of the Prophet Muhammad, and he lived very simply. He only takes what he needs from this world, and he was such a phenomenal and amazing man who has ever lived in this world after Prophet Muhammad SAW. And we should read his biography and should get to know him better, and we will know that we are taking too much, and actually we will be questioned about all that we have and what we spend on. So yeah, so maybe that will make us be more careful with what we buy and what we consume.
Thank you, Sister Maria. Okay, moving on to the next question, shall we?
All right.
From Sister Najibah, I want to memorize the names of Allah and their meanings. How would you suggest I start?
With buying this book. Okay. Yeah, I think number one we need to understand them first. That's why if you want, I think just memorizing. I think there are a few songs that, a few nasheeds that has the but to memorize to understand everything, I think we need to go slow with the book. Don't rush through too much and just reflect on everything on your. Of course, the author of this book mentioned her reflections, but we should make our own reflections as well based on what we have experienced in this life, what the whole world is going through, and from conversations with other people and from the experience of our parents, of our elders, and that is how we apply um, the names of Allah in our lives. When we have applied what we learn, then only we will remember. Although we don't memorize exactly, but we remember what it means. That is the most important.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sister Maria.
Then only you will remember.
Inshallah. Okay, next question, Sister Maria. Can you suggest the way of how to improve doing charity for a selfish person?
Okay, I can relate. Actually, you can start. Charity begins at home, and you start with the people very close to you, parents, siblings, and of course your children. And start small. You don't have to go all Abu Bakar and spend all your wealth. No. Yes, some people say, oh, you wait until you're ikhlas, then you do it. But actually, no. We have to force ourselves. With religion, they say there's no forcing, but actually, we don't force other people, but we force ourselves because in order to learn how charity is good for the giver and the receiver, we have to experience that first. So if we have experienced the feeling of giving and the feeling of how the other person smiles back at you, and or even if they don't give thanks or they don't smile back at us, um, Allah will give us in a lot of other ways. Like for example, maybe uh, okay, if you have started working, or maybe if you haven't, if you still have your parents, if you visit them over the weekends, or if you live with them every day, maybe um, on Fridays, maybe give your mom about 10 ringgit, or give your dad 5 ringgit or 10 ringgit, up to you. But you don't have to give too much, but you just want that experience, with that feeling of happiness and that feeling of gratitude as well, and that feeling of peace that Allah actually has promised us anyway. So you start small. Don't be too ambitious, and stop telling yourself that you are selfish and stingy. Okay, so start small, give small, and give to those nearest to you. Even I have, there's one parent that she has one mother. She has a son who has who's going through some difficulties in his business, and he never really gives to the mother. So the mother said to him, you can give me 1 ringgit and I will be happy. And you don't have to have a lot of money to give to me, but just give me 1 ringgit every week or something, whenever you see me. Then you will start from there, and then you realize that whenever you give, a lot will come back to you. And it doesn't have to be in the form of money. If we give 10 ringgit to someone, doesn't mean it will come back as 100 ringgit, but it will give us you have to give first, and you will know how it feels.
Yes.
You will mind, you will have, probably if you give 10 ringgit to your mother that morning, the whole day will be easy, and you overcome a lot of obstacles that you think that you wouldn't. You'll be so like lighthearted that day. You feel suddenly your boss gives you a praise or something. You don't know. These are all provision. These are all Allah's gifts to us. Or maybe you give your father 10 ringgit that morning, and then suddenly you heard a lecture about something that you really wanted to know about. That is risk as well. So just start, 1 ringgit, 2 ringgit, 10 ringgit, doesn't matter. Yeah, give it to your parents, and not just that. Sometimes it's with energy or with other things, like if you like cooking, you can give food to your neighbors. Sometimes if you live alone in an apartment, you can give food to your security guard. You do
Yeah.
that. So I think my relative used to live alone somewhere, and sometimes she wants some muffins, but they give in like big packs. So what she did was she just take two, and then the rest of it she'll give to others. She'll give to her security guard, and they will show their happiness. Uh, we won't. Number one, actually, we shouldn't expect people to repay us. That's another thing about giving, that we
Mm.
should work hard, but at the same time we don't expect them to repay, to say thanks. To If you work in healthcare, people don't thank us, but that is not the point. Someone will smile back at us. Someone will say thank you. Someone will really appreciate what we have, what we give, and that will encourage you to give more. Um,
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing is, read. You can read about people who are generous, like Abu Bakar. Well, he's up there. Is really,
Yes.
but at the same time, is inspiring. or maybe you can read about Uthman or Abdurrahman ibn Auf, or you can look around you and see who's generous around you, like your family members. If you know 1 or 2% who are generous, or your friends, or even your boss who likes to buy food for the staff, everything, or um, or people like, some ustaz who goes around and gives a lot of charity. Some of them are not ustaz. Like I think Syed Azmi, he does a lot of charity work on his own, and he I think he found the peace that he needs. That is one of the ways that you can encourage yourself to be charitable as well.
Inshallah.
Yeah, and surround yourself with generous people. They will really
Inshallah.
influence you, like really. I have a friend who really likes to buy meals. Whenever we go out, she will pay. I mean, I can't even get my wallet, and she's already out. And she's really, yeah, yeah. And then, I think I have not just one. I have a few friends like that, and I have bosses like that. I have family members who are like so. And keep in mind that you will never get poorer by giving.
Yes. Start with something small is better than nothing, right? Yeah. Okay. I want to ask last questions. Can I? Before we close our session? Okay. Since we're talking about provision, Allah is Al-Razzaq, the provision has that Allah has given you that you treasure the most. Maybe you can share with us.
Can you not make me cry?
I'm sorry.
It's hard to choose because, of course, my parents
Yeah.
and my family, and um, and the ability to read, and the curiosity to know, and um, the and yeah, family is number one, I think.
Okay.
And a peaceful country and a peaceful life. Um, yeah, actually, basically everything. It's but yeah, if you, yeah.
Okay. Everything. Yeah. How can we choose, right? Silly
Yeah,
me.
I mean, you can. But of course, there are big things and there are small things.
Yeah.
He's big and supportive and inspirational, and patient, and they take us as who we are. And of course, best friends.
Of
I'm sorry.
course. Thank you, best friends.
Thank you, best friends.
Okay, Sister Maria, it's been like an hour 5 minutes, I think. So yeah, time passed and I didn't really notice it. I really enjoy your session today, and I'm glad that we will be doing a lot more. Inshallah, there will be 3 more sessions with Sister Maria. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session, like the way we enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much, Sister Maria, for your thoughts, for your wisdom, for your advice. Thank you so much. And we would like to hear more on the other names of Allah that you'll be sharing next, inshallah. So, yes, Sister Maria?
Just make dua that I have the time and the space.
Amin.
Reflect, and so that I could share my.
Amin, inshallah. Amin. Thanks again, Sister Maria. And I would like to thank all of our supportive audience. Thank you so much for participating, asking questions. Thank you so much. And inshallah, we'll be seeing you guys next week, inshallah, on 17 April, if I'm not mistaken. Inshallah, there'll be announcement on it. Thanks again, Sister Maria, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye, Sister Maria. Thank
Thank
you.